Okay, we're gonna go ahead now. Bring a Mishnah in, a Mishnah from Ayolos, Perek Tezayin, and also Masech Nazir, and then we're gonna go ahead and compare how it works in with our Mishnah. Okay, so if a mace dies, and you know for sure the mace was buried there, that he's kind of the makom. You can't move the mace. If you're led to believe that the mace was buried there quickly, then you could go ahead and move the mace, provided you take along what they call is tfusa. You take along any earth, any loose earth, or 3 tfachim or 3 etzbois machlekes of virgin earth from underneath him, and you can move him off the highway because again, people oil regel and kahanim, you want to be Torah as possible. If, however, it's a shkunas kever, it's a graveyard, meaning it's this crypt that we decided, then you can't move them at all. So we're speaking about you find a grave and you want to know could you move it or not. And depending upon how many graves you find there, you can ascertain whether it's a shkunas kever, a cemetery, a crypt, and you can't move them, or no, it was buried there haphazardly for quickly and really you could move it. That's the discussion. I'm going to see how it fits in. Okay, just to reiterate, we saw the sheet of the Chachamim 4x6. The crypt was 4x6, and Rav Shimon was 6x8. Good? And Rav Shimon was 6x8. Tanan Hassam, we looked over there. Hamoitzi mace, moishiv kedarkoi. You find a mace, and the mace is lying kedarkoi, like we bury what? Bnei Yisrael. Not sitting, not standing. Okay. Noitloi, you could remove the mace, best fusarsai, and the earth around them, again, any loose earth, and we're worried by 3 tfachim of any body liquids that might have dissolved or dam. We move, you take him into fasai and you re-intern it in someplace else. Shnayim, if you find 2, same halacha. Noitlon, you take them as tfusasan, because again, you're led to believe that they weren't buried there. You just found the mace. There's no reason to believe that they were buried there permanently, and they ended up there, buried haphazardly for whatever reason, and not moved. And therefore, however, matzah shloisha, if you find 3, im yesh beinehem me arba ad shmoina, if you have a distance between the 3 of 4 to 8, harzeh shchunas kavos, that's considered a cemetery. Now, that is considered a ma'ara. Now, notice, guys, we have 4x6, 6x8. This is 4x8. This is 4x8, correct? We have an our Mishnah 4-6, 6-8. This is 4-8, and that's going to be a problem. Ubodik mimenu ulahalon esrim ama, and you go ahead and you count from that area. If you found 3 within 4x8, you count there 20 amas. How do you figure 20, guys? Again, remember, what are you worried about? 1 crypt, 1 chutzner, another crypt. Yes? Remember the configuration on Amid Aleph. One crypt, 1 ma'ara, 1 chutzner in between, and another one. Now it says 20. Let's do the math. If you hold one was 4x6, then it's 18. It's 6, 6, and 6. If you hold like Rav Shimon, then it should be 22. 8, 6, and 8. 16 and 6 is 22. So where do you get 20 from? So 2 problems. 1, who's the Tana who holds 4x8? It's not Rav Shimon who holds 6x8. It's not the Tana Kama who said 4x6. And where do you get the dimensions of 20? L'chayr, it's either 18 or 22. Where do you get the number of 20? Those are 2 of the problems. Okay, those are two of the problems that we have to address. Says the Gemara. If you find someone, this is the older Mishnah, you find one at the end of Esrim Amma, you go ahead and check another 20. Right? It's Reglayim L'Daba that this was a Shchanas Chavos, that was a crypt. Because if you found initially only one, you would go ahead and take him and it's Tfusa. But since you found him in conjunction of the other crypts, you're concerned. Amamar means what? We're now going back over that brisa, and we're going to deal with the 2 concerns that I raised, right? Because I saw this Gemara and I know what it's talking about. May arbat shmoina money. Who's the one who holds the back, guys? You need 4x8. We have 4x6. We have 6x8. no one held 4 by 8. If it's the Rabbanan, it's 4 by 6. It's Rav Shimon, it's 6 by 8. So says the Gemara Lo'ilam Rav Shimon. So now, if it's Rav Shimon, so I need 22 guys, right? 8, 6, 8, not 20. And it's this Tana. Meaning, fellas, we're going to have another Tana who's going to express another opinion of Rav Shimon. Our Tana expressed Rav Shimon as 6 by 8. We're going to have a Tana that expresses Rav Shimon 4 by 8. And the Mishnah in Oilos is what? That Tana in Rav Shimon. That's this Rav Shimon by Yochai. The Tanya, Matzah Ritzufim, if you find them right one next to another, the Ein Meinehem Midal and Amas Al Ches, and you don't have the dimensions of the Ma'ara of 4 by 8, that's what we're dealing with. In other words, you find them close together. So Mustama, they were buried close together. Who knows, a mass grave, who knows how to bury what happened over there. But you find them, and they're not in the area, and it's so Ritzufim 4 by 8, Yesh Lehem Tfusa, the Ein Lehem Shchunas Kavos. And they have a din of what of separate mason. Take the tfusa, the earth around them, remove them, you could remove them. However, if Reb Shimon ben Yehuda Aimer, Mishum Reb Shimon, this is Reb Shimon ben Yehuda in the name of Shimon by Yochai, and this is Reb Shimon, and this is 4 by 8, Royin Esaim Tsoyim, you have let's say you have a 4. You will view the 2 middle ones if they're not there, Kilo Einam, Vashar Mitztafim, right, Midalid Amis Vedches. Okay? So in other words, here we have an opinion expressed. We have a clear-cut opinion of Rav Shimon ben Yehuda in Rav Shimon in a crypt that's 4 by 8, saying that if you find them close together, don't say automatically they were buried this way. Say what you view, maybe they were, I don't know what happened over there, you forgot about them, you buried them temporarily and you forgot, and then you come back and take them, and therefore remove them as if they're not there, and it has the halacha of a shchunas kavros, and you can't take them. Okay, the bottom line is, what do you see? We have a Tana of Rav Shimon ben Yehuda saying in Rav Shimon the dimension of 4 by 8. And that is the opinion expressed in the mission of Oilos and in Nazir 4 by 8. So we have Rav Shimon by us 4 by 6. We have over there 4 by 8. Okay? And again, important to notice, Rav Shimon is the one over here says, we'll view by the Kfarim as if they're not there. We'll view them as if they're not there and make it a shachnas kavros. The Mayu Kimta, a Kumisak Rav Shimon, use that sound like Rav Shimon, Amos Sefer. Let's look at the Sefer. Go ahead and check from there. 20 Amos says the Mishnah. Money. Rav Shimon, Esrim Betarta Havayin. If it's Rav Shimon, you should need 22. 8, 6, 8. 8, 6, 8. Again, Rav Shimon, whoever, the question is only in the width, guys, whether it's 4 or 6. But everyone held in Rav Shimon, the length is 8. So 8 plus the chutz in the middle is 14, plus another 8 is 22. So where do you get 20 from? Irabanon, tam nesari havin. And with Rabbanon, it's 18 guys. 6, 6, and 6. It's the Rabbanon. You went ahead, you took the diagonal of 6. The diagonal of 6 was 7.2. In other words, the Rashram brings, it's good to check the diagonal because you'll be able to cover more graves, more potential graves over there. So if you take the diagonal of 6, you'll round off to 8. So you have 8, 6, 6. Total of 20, guys, right? Again, the Chacham hold 6, 6, 6, which is 18. If you go ahead and check one grave in the diagonal, one crypt, that makes it 8. 8, 6, and 6 would be a total of 20. Says the Gemara, when you're checking one of them in an angle, you should check the other one in the angle. It should be 22 then. It should be 8, 6, 8. Why are you only checking one? It's 6, 6, 6. You're telling me you're checking one to 8. The other one also should be 8. So it should be 20. It should be 22. We don't expect you to go ahead. One you'll do and one you won't. One you'll do and one you won't. Okay, so one opinion, the 20 is 1, 6, you're checking on its angle, the diagonal 7.2, rounded off to 8. 8, 6, 6 is 20. That's the opinion of the Chachamim. Rav Amid Beis. Rav Shisha Beit Rav Idi Amar, Loyal and Rav Shimon here. It's Rav Shimon. Now, what was the question? Rav Shimon needs 22. The Hachamayaskinan bin Nifli. Here we're speaking what? We're speaking what? Bin Nifli. When it's Nefalim, Rav Shimon says you only need 6. Your Ma'ara, if it's babies, stillborns, you only need 6, 6, 12, 6 for the Nefalim, Kever, the crypt, 6 for the Chatzar, 8 for the normal. That's a total of 20. The Gemara is going to ask, let the other one also be Nefalim, right? It says the Gemara, Umadaha ben Nifli, when this one was benifli, Hanami benifli, so it should be 666, and Betami sorry having it should be enough 18. It says the Gemara, Chada benifli aminon, Hati benifli loy aminon. Same. One we check Balachlasan, one we say Nefalim, the second one we say Shchiach to say both Nefalim. Therefore, so the Mishnah of 20 could either be the Chachamim, and you made the sixth diagonal of 6 was what was 7.2 with 8, 866, or as of Shimon, it's 668. One was Nefalim, which normally 8 is 6, and now it's a 6 for the kever, for the Chatzar, and 8 for the other crypt. The Rami Drabban. Okay, now just to conclude, we saw a shita before. If you find mason that are in close conjunction in 4 by 8, the Chacham said it's not a graveyard, and Rav Shimon says remove the middle ones, and it's a graveyard. So you see Rav Shimon, when it comes to halacha, will go ahead and says you remove stuff. Now we learned early in the Masechta, if you have the din of kalayim, if it has a shem kerem, if it's 4 amas apart, you can plant in between, right? It has a shem kerem, and you can't plant. If it's less than 4, then you could, because it's not a shem kerem. Okay, shem kerem ravoi. The kerem was speaking about the isser of kalayim. We said, when does this of kalayim exist by what? When it's something that's called a kerem. So if it's called a kerem, you'll be more machmir than if it's not called a kerem. Good. So now we're going to ask a stira from Oyelais from the Mishnah that we spoke about, the Brisa that we not the Mishnah, the Brisa where it says you remove kfarim, you don't. Again, the Chacham say you don't remove them. Rav Shimon says you do remove them. We're going to ask a stira. It's a Mishnah. Kerem anoita al pochas me'arba amas. A kerem that's planted on less than 4 amas. Now, in order to be for a kerem, it has to be at least 4 amas apart. The rows of the vines have to be 4 amas apart. Rav Shimon ain't a kerem. It's not a kerem. It's not a kerem. In other words, we won't remove the trees in between. The chachamim ma'imrim haris a kerem. The royines I'm tsoyim kila einam. And we'll view the trees that are in the middle as if they're not there. Thus, we'll go ahead and make the dimensions that of a kerem because it's 4 amas apart. So again, in order to be a kerem, the rows have to be 4 amas apart. If they're not, it's not a kerem, and you could plant there up to a certain distance. If it is a kerem, you can't. Says Rav Shimon says it's not a kerem. We won't view the trees in the middle as if they're not there. We'll leave them there. This seems to be a stira to by the graveyard, when you find people one on top of the other, graves close by, Rav Shimon says, remove them. So why by the grave does he say remove them? And why by the kerem says keep the trees there? Versus the Chachamim who said by the graveyard, we'll view them as what? As there. And over here by the kerem, he says remove them. So you have a stira between Rav Shimon and the Chachamim, and their sheet is by graveyards versus the din of kerem. That's the kasha. Kasha the Rabbanan Rabbanan, the kasha the Rav Shimon Rav Shimon. Now, Rav Shimon lekash. So again, Rav Shimon says by graveyard we'll remove them. Masha'en came by what? By kerem we'll keep them. Hasam over there by the kerem. Not the inshia daite la'oker. When a person plants vines, he does not have in mind to remove the vines. Therefore, you leave them there. Hacha zimnin the misramela bein hashmashis. What's going to happen? It happened bein hashmashis umikri. And they left it, and they forgot. For some reason, they forgot. So, in other words, it was a shchunas kever, and they were what? And they were interned in the right place. Except they would have been interned in the right place had they remembered. So, the Chevra Kadisha brought him to the crypt. They put him there. They forgot about them, and now you find them all together. But it really is shchunas kever. Therefore, I'll view them as not there. And it'll be a place that you can't remove the bodies nor the tfusa. Masha'en came by a kerem. If he planted the trees, he planted the trees. That's the difference between the two. And that answers the steer of Shimon. And says the Gemara, the Rabbanan nami lekasha. Now, what does the Rabbanan say? They said by the graveyard we view them as there, by the kerem we view them as what? As not there. Since it's a maneuver, it's not covered on mace to remove it. It's not called a shunas kever, and therefore we'll remove it. When a guy plants a kerem, the ones that work out well work out well. The deloy shape, the ones that don't work out well, they should be for firewood. So he disagrees in svara that every grave that's planted is for the purpose of keeping it there. It's lav dafka, you have to keep it there. So memela, the stira, we've answered both. So the main thing from the sugya, we have 3 shitas, 4x6, 6x8, machlokes and Shimon, 6x8 is or 4x8. How to reconcile the numbers? One way was one of the kfarim was we're measuring under the diagonal, according to Chachamim, according to Rav Shimon, it's speaking by Nephalim. Also, how do we reconcile the configuration of Rav Shimon's 4x4 and the perpendicular? One or two ways, either by being maimik or by being shortened because they are Nephalim. Bez Hashem, share will be tomorrow morning, God willing. Everyone have a great night.